With the table upside down and having the front facing you, place the potentiometer bar bracket on the left side of the foot pedal. Insert one end of the two-piece section of the potentiometer bar into the hole on the side of the L bracket. Attach the other section of the potentiometer bar onto the potentiometer itself, on the outermost hole of the lever. Remember to remove the nut and washer first. Insert the screw from the outside in so the bar is on the outside of the potentiometer lever and the washer and nut are on the inside of the potentiometer lever. Tighten the nuts well. With the potentiometer lever facing the center of the machine, place the potentiometer between the smaller 1.5-inch hole and the back edge of the table. The bend of the metal bracket attached to the potentiometer should be aligned with the center of the 1.5-inch hole. Use the two small screws to secure it in place. Thread the coupler on the first bar, then slide it onto the second bar and tighten the nut to secure the bars. You can now test the pedal to make sure it works properly. It should engage the potentiometer lever fully. Unboxing the machine. You can use a screwdriver or a set of needle nose pliers to remove the staples from the box. The first box you'll find contains all the parts to the machine. Once you take that out, you'll find the instruction. Remove the styrofoam and the machine will be right underneath. Inside the box, you'll find your potentiometer, an assortment of flathead screwdrivers, the oil pan, the pressure foot knee pad assembly, a bottle of oil, thread stand assembly with all the parts, pressure foot lift assembly for the knee pad, an assortment of rubber feet, bobbins, hinges, bars, needles, and your take-up lever and the umbrella. You're going to use the silver shaft that has a little slit in it for a C-clamp and also a hole. The C-clamp will go towards the front of the machine and the hole is going to go towards the back, but in this case we just have it upside down. This is what's going to connect the push rod to the shaft, and that screw is going to go into that hole right there. Make sure that they align. First, you'll remove the screw or back it up just a little bit so that the shaft can go through it. Make sure you go through the lower pan first and then go through the shaft. Next, we'll install a spring. We have to put the spring first with the short end towards that mechanism, and the long end is going to fit right in that little groove. So make sure that the short end goes underneath that lever. Now push everything in place and your machine should articulate just like that. I will take the screw that we removed and put it back in and make sure that it goes through the hole into the shaft. They both must connect. Once that's connected, go ahead and insert your C-pin. You can tap it in gently or use a pair of needle nose pliers to press it into place. Now you can adjust that nut and bolt assembly to determine how far up and down the presser foot goes. You can always make adjustments after the unit has been put together. Finally, you'll take your coupler and secure it to the end of the shaft. Finally, take your push rod, insert it into the hole, and it will rest on the metal cup of the assembly underneath. If you articulate the coupler, the push rod should go up and down. Place the pan in front of you with the drain holes to the right-hand side. The two small rubber feet will go on the back, and the two large rubber feet will go on the front. You'll then take the two hinge blocks and place them in the corresponding slots. Just slide them in, they should fit nice and snug. Now take the pan and gently lay it down and make sure everything aligns. The two small rubber feet on the back and the two larger ones in front. Once the pan is secured in place, take your sewing machine and place it on the table gently and install the two hinges. The top of the hinges are flat, the bottom has the curl. Now place the hinges into the rubber stoppers on the table, lift the machine and set it down onto the table where the silver hinges fit right into the rubber stoppers. The table should fit nice and flat. Undo the tie on the electric cord and pass it through the corresponding hole on the back of the table.
Connect the 6-pin male connector to the 6-pin female connector from the sewing head to the sewing machine just under the plug. Pass the 4-pin male connector attached to the potentiometer through the 1.5-inch hole. Connect it to the 4-pin female connector of the machine. Push the rubber connector covers over the plugs after they are connected. Once the cables are connected, it is time for some cable management. You can use wire ties or purchase some cable guides from the hardware store for a clean installation. If you use the one from the hardware store, remember not to crush the cables. Secure them snugly, but not too tight. Place the machine head stop dowel into the remaining hole just behind the machine. This will allow you to rest the machine on it when you tilt it back.
End of the knee pad from left to right into the coupler. At this time, you might need to make some slight adjustments depending on your body type, so this will be all based on preference. In this video, we are placing the knee pad perpendicular to the ground. Secure the top of the coupler with a 10mm socket or open-ended wrench. And now secure the short shaft. The angle of the knee pad will depend on the user, so you can always make changes later on. Finally, the height of the knee pad can be adjusted by adjusting the screw on the back of the knee pad. You can slide the knee pad up and down based on your preference.
Insert the rod with the rubber grommet and metal washer into the hole on the table. The rubber washer should be underneath the metal washer. Underneath the table, first place the metal washer, then the nut. Tighten it with an adjustable wrench. Don't over tighten. Locate the bracket that does not have the thread guides and slide the lower bracket a third of the way down the rod. It should be just a little higher than the top of the machine. This will allow you to tilt the machine without interfering with the thread stand assembly. Tighten with the number 2 Phillips screwdriver. Install the thread bars on the innermost hole and the outermost hole. Do not use the center hole. Once both poles are in the coupler, tighten it with an adjustable wrench. Place your pre-assembled coupler onto the top of the bottom rod. If the coupler was not pre-assembled, use 2 screws and 2 nuts in the 2 holes of the coupler and hand tighten. Once both poles are in the coupler, tighten them using a number 2 Phillips screwdriver. Slide the upper thread guide onto the rod approximately 4 inches from the top and tighten the screws with the number 2 Phillips screwdriver. Replace the little black cap on top of the rod when finished. Slide the spool holder with the cup facing the top onto each spool pole and lock them into the bottom of the spool pole. You will feel it lock into place as you rotate it slightly. Place your foam pad on top of the spool cup followed by the plastic spool center guide. To remove the bobbin, first slide open the bobbin door. Then reach under the table and lift the bobbin case lever up, then pull the bobbin case out. Remove the used bobbin. To install a new bobbin, hold the bobbin as it is wound in a clockwise position and place it into the bobbin case. Slide the thread through the slit of the bobbin case, then under the tension spring of the bobbin case. The bobbin, while looking at the bobbin, should turn in a clockwise direction. Hold the lever and place it horizontally back into the bobbin slot and pointing to the front of the machine. Make sure it's locked into position. Close the bobbin case door. This is the presser foot lifting and lowering lever. Use this lever to change the sewing direction. When pressed, the machine will sew in reverse. When released, it will sew in the normal forward direction. Use this lever to create a lock stitch at the end of your run. This is your digital motor speed controller. The P is for programming and going through modes, while the S is to save your selection. You can control the needle position as well as the top speed of your machine. Use this dial to control the length of your stitches. The higher the number, the longer your stitch length will be. To adjust the stitch length, press the silver button, then turn the dial to the desired length. To manually control the needle position,
Press this button and it will either make the needle go up or down. If you need to rotate the fabric while the needle is in the down position, press the button and the needle will go down, then lift the presser foot and rotate your fabric. The gray knob on top of the machine will help you adjust the pressure on the presser foot. Before making any adjustments, loosen the plastic nut at the base of the dial. Depending on the type of material you're using, you may need to adjust the pressure of the presser foot. Turn the dial clockwise to increase the pressure and turn the dial counterclockwise to decrease the pressure. Once the desired pressure is achieved, tighten the plastic nut to lock the dial in place. Simply pour the oil into the oil pan until you reach the high level. The oil pump and wicks will circulate the oil throughout the machine. This high-speed sewing machine is self-oiling.